Hey guys, let me know if I am loud and clear. Hey, what's up, Alpha Goal? And I'll say hi again to everybody that was here earlier. So Richard, Magical Posters, Robert, and Doodly Done. Awesome. And Magical Posters, yes. So how is your guys' Saturday so far? What have you guys been up to? Oops. So is my audio quiet? Is this when I turn up my volume and just blow everybody's ears out? Well, the one time that happened, it literally blew people's eardrums out. So I'm all like super insecure about the audio. If I move it any closer, it's just going to hit my paper and just move things around. So I'm going to have to buy a microphone overhead stand at some point, maybe sooner than later. Oh yeah, so we're getting settled into the art. Awesome. I have been not drawing as much as I would like to this week, but I spent a lot of time doing some business stuff, and I'll let you guys know pretty shortly here what I'm doing. So what I'm working on and my schedule, and in between working on pages lately, I've just been drawing commissions because I've got quite a few more to do before the end of September. So hey, what's up, Harlan? Oh, coding assignment. Are you coding a website, or is it like some kind of a, what is it called, a user interface, like UI, or like an app or something? Or probably a database, right? Watch your talks. All right, so we have two options for me talking over this today. We're gonna either ink this page right here with Saint. It's one big panel, so I feel like, you know, if I'm doing my job right, you'll see all the inking I get to do with like the dark shadows, and you know, probably it'll take up the 2 hours I normally am sitting here. So a little slower than usual, but if I were just to focus on this panel, it might take an hour if I'm being careful, because sometimes, since the pencils are so rough, it is a little it's like me picking out the perfect line, you know. So let's see here. Or we get to ink Pocky. Kitty cat. We get to ink Pocky, and then I'll tell you guys the inside joke with the smiley faces down here. So do we do the Pocky page, or do we do the Splash Saint page? I'll let you guys pick. So let me know in the comments which one you prefer. Hey, what's up, Arthur? Thanks for hanging out with us. It's nice seeing you again. I like seeing my regulars. Hello, Kellersome. What's up? And Wednesday Davis. That's a cool name. Is that really your name, Wednesday? That's awesome. Splash page. Okay, so Alpha Goal says, oh, and then we got Pocky page. Splash. Okay, so we got 2 for Splash, 1 for Pocky, 1 for Kitty Cat. And Splash. Okay, so I wish I could do both. Hope there's enough ink in here for today, or else we're gonna have to break open a new bottle of ink. All right, so I'm gonna do Splash page up until maybe we get more votes in, I guess. So. All right. I did some penciling today for a cover I'm working on for my my friend's And so I didn't not draw, but definitely wasn't doing a ton of work this morning. Okay. So, quick backstory on this page. I started to work on this comic book years ago. We're talking like early Facebook days, and I would post a splash page, and obviously that was what, 20 years ago, maybe almost 20 years ago. So now it's like now this is the final iteration of this page. So I wasn't going to have this in the first issue, but I was like, you know what, let's just pay homage to this scene right here. So this is quite updated from what I had initially. So 1 second. All right, just wanted to make sure that everything's running. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so this is just me warming up at this point. So hopefully I'll get this page done today, and then move on to some commissions and working on a cover. So we got this right here. Let me know if you guys can hear me right now or see me in the video, because I think it froze. Okay, so. So here we go. We're looking for lines to pick at in ink right now, and I'm going to try to hit the big shapes again like I did last time. Thank you, moderator. Yeah, I was like not sure if I froze or something. Okay. But to warm up, I usually just pick something I want to ink that's not the face. That's not the face, and then I start inking that first. And you see how the hand isn't like drawn in all the way yet, because it's an important part of the page, and you know how hands are, they're kind of tough, and I don't want to do it wrong because then it's going to be noticeable. But now I just drew attention to this problem I have with hands, and I guess feet sometimes, you know how it is. So I added a few more pages to the book, and I was talking to my friend today, and apparently he does the same thing. So when you're an artist writer, the advantages you have are if you feel like the story could be drawn in a better way, or you need to add or subtract pages, you can, instead of like, you know, completely messing up the whole entire schedule and deadline. Thank you, watcher. Thanks so much, Alpha. Yeah, it's really hard to tell because I have the chat speed on, I think, half speed, just so that I could catch up and read anything I'm missing. And so it's a little slower on my end when I see it than when you guys type it. So we now have a tentative launch date for this book, which I just got the clarification this afternoon with a couple of things, and so this book should launch. Sorry, not launch. Well, yeah, launch. Kickstarter launch October 28th. So that's a few weeks away, you guys. So that's my big announcement, basically. And so I am hauling backside right now to get everything moving and going in the right direction. So working on a lot of the promo art and backer tiers and stuff like that. So this book will be ideally going live October 28th. So the website is, I pinned the comment up above. It's neowonderland.com. So if you go there, you could actually sign up for the newsletter to be notified when the Kickstarter pre-launch is ready, or the pre-launch link is available, and then you guys could see everything about the book and what we have planned for it. So let's see. Yeah, it is kind of Spider-Man-y. Some of the stuff he does, Richard, is sort of Spider-Man-ish, minus the fact that he needs to use a lot of gadgets just to not fall off the side of a building like a hoverboard. Okay, I feel a little bit more warmed up now, so I think we could move right on along here. So, and today we're using the Kiritake brush, my favorite. And I've been switching between that and the artist, like what is it, round 6. So yeah, after 25 years of changing this story, moving it around, I ended up with the same basic concept about the assassin brothers, and yeah, we're gonna go with that. And so finally it sees the light of day, and it kind of took forever to get here. I feel like I wasn't artistically ready, and even as a writer at the time. And right now, even though I'm not like perfect, sometimes you just gotta go for it. So now is the time. Let's move on to something more interesting besides his knees. Okay, I'll go with the let's do the shape of his face. Check my camera. Check your Camaro. Sorry, did I miss something? Oh, okay. Yeah, I did. I missed a bunch of stuff. This pose is killer here. It's okay. I've been coding a website back end, yeah, and getting feedback from my lecturer how to go about it, but the due date was shifted, so now I'm just taking a breather and taking my time with it. Are you coding Watch Your Talks with PHP, or what language are you guys coding in? So Calvin asked if I pencil it all and then ink it all, or do you just jump all over the place? Well, right now I'm jumping all over the place, but what I'm supposed to do and what I normally do is I do like a batch of 5 pages first and then go in and ink it so that I feel the momentum, and you don't want to and then it gets kind of, after a while you get kind of antsy, you want to jump between different tasks. But since I'm writing the story and there's parts of the story where I'm like, you know what, I think I could probably execute that better, then I go back and I do something over. That's why I don't wait until I, do the whole story and then come back to it, because then I might have wasted some time. But, that's probably not the best way to do it for everybody, but it makes me feel like I'm actually getting things done. Otherwise, yeah, it's easy to change things when everything is all pencil and you keep wanting to fix things and it never gets done. So, alrighty, magical posters. You have a good evening. Good night. Richard, I have ink, but I'm so paranoid about like running out of ink for some reason that I just use every last drop of the ink that I have, or I order too much, and so I have a decent amount of ink left. But I think in the next month or two, since I'm finishing this book up, I'm probably going to use tons of ink. So, inking with brushes for me is a pinnacle of artist skill. I kind of agree in a way, and it's also fun to ink with brushes. As much as I love nibs because they're so like the lines are so crisp, I like inking with this brush in particular because it's kind of like a cross between a nib almost and a brush. I mean, it's pretty awesome. And once you get used to this, it's like really hard to go back and do anything else. Video game boss, did I go to Joe Kubert school? No, but I did the DC workshop a few years back, and his son was teaching. Andy was part of the workshop, and he was really good at kind of giving what his dad's feedback was, or you know what his dad taught him. So, and his brother is also amazing. Oh, Totoro said Pocky. You know what? I will do Pocky in a little bit. I think I'll have enough time to do a little bit of both. So, which is the first artist reference? For me, I guess if you wanted to say anybody that really stuck out was Jim Lee. Or you could go the other direction and say Bob Ross. That was my first guy. Before Jim Lee was Bob Ross. So, you know, it's kind of where I got my desire to draw and paint professionally, because it's like, well, he's doing it and he's on TV. That means you could be an artist and make money. That was important. I'm sure my parents wouldn't agree if I was just doing this for fun and or you know, not making a living out of it. Hello, Heaven. Yeah, I know, man. Just inking alone, Richard, is like, because you're going over lines, and once you put the line down, yeah, you could fix it, but it feels permanent, doesn't it? So I'm going to save his chest area for last because this is taking place at night, so I'm probably going to be doing a ton of inking in the middle, the core of his body, so I'm just going to leave that blank. And I'm working my way around like the outline before we go, you know, go and paint or ink his face. So so for the one of the let's see, for one of the tiers for the Kickstarter, I'm gonna have a sketchbook. So I've accumulated so many sketches from this book for years and years and years. It's going to be like a sketchbook for part of the Kickstarter. So you guys get to see all the not so good art as well as just some rough sketches that I haven't really posted because there's so many of them. Just so I could kind of show you guys how I basically came up with the idea for the characters, the design, and the art style, which I know a lot of people ask about. And I was talking to my friend about this, a couple of friends, and my editor, and I was like, you know, I just decided I know what an art style is now. It's basically all the people that you enjoy and love art, you know, their art, and you want to be like them. It's a combination of that and your growth as not only an artist but as a person, and your style sort of reflects basically your experiences and the people that you admire, which a lot of times those styles, they speak to you because there's like a personality trait that maybe they possess, and so that style kind of comes out. And I feel like the longer I've been doing this and the older I get with all my experiences, that my style kind of comes through that way. But if I rushed it early on, I didn't really know a whole lot about myself then and what I want, you know, how I was going to do something, and I've changed a lot as a person, so my style kind of evolved with that. So it wasn't something I picked as much as I wanted it to be. It was just something that kind of evolved my art and my life at the same time. So I keep going back to this lake. It's fun. But we aren't here to watch me ink his pants, are we? So video games, boss, my perspective on comic industry, you know, like it's kind of like a snapshot of just society in general and how we consume the things that we love. And you know, how, remember there used to be Toys R Us, and you know, even after that we'd have like all these independent video game stores and shops and comic shops, and then they all kind of consolidated and became a superstore like in the mall, and then that went in belly up, you know, kind of. And then you had the more corporate mainstream companies like Blockbuster and GameStop. But you know, but we never had, or maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I ever remembered seeing a corporate like comic book shop, right? It usually kind of went hand in hand with like toys, tabletop gaming, and things like that. So I think that if I had to take an approach right now and I, you know, had my own comic shop, I would incorporate like a retro. I know this is not everybody's going to appreciate or like this idea, but kind of like pinball, arcade cabinets, tabletop gaming, and maybe coffee shop or bar or something like that, where it's like an experience and you want to hang out there. And comic books is a part, you know, however small or large you want it to be, is a part of the experience of, you know, just kind of a gathering and meeting people and then talking about stuff. And I feel like those are the environments that we don't really have a lot of, even though there's a few out there. I think if there's more of those, it's a win-win for gaming and comics and books and, you know, just pop culture, I guess. And I mean, I would hang out at those places all the time, and I would decorate it like it was like really colorful and interesting, you know, fun, I guess. So, Black Sun, you stopped and started in 6 years. So I guess when you say you failed horribly, what are you learning to draw? And then like, is it like a specific thing that you're learning, or are you kind of jumping around based off of like what you hear you're supposed to learn, like anatomy and hands or face, or what kind of approach are you taking? Because it's a little different for everybody, and why they have a hard time. Because sometimes our studies are too broad, and sometimes it's too narrow, and then you don't really feel like you've accomplished anything because all you're drawing is like, I don't know, the bicep the whole time, or the skull, which I honestly don't really practice. But there's a lot of really good YouTube channels that show you how to draw without like being burnt out from just studying all the time. So studying anatomy and all that stuff. Yeah, Richard, I agree with you. Like if you like a bunch of different artists and you study and you kind of mishmash them together and you put your own little personality, all of a sudden, you know, you are your own artist style. David, okay, so David knows he's been a huge, I guess, follower of Scrappy the Bear that I created years ago. And so David, if you want, he's kind of right there. I got him right there, the green bear, and then right here. So Scrappy's gonna be on the same page as Pocky in this one, and then we got Garrus, who's, rest in peace, Garrus. And yeah, and I'll tell you guys the nugget story, I guess, when I get to it, and you'll understand why. It's an inside joke with Pocky and nuggets. And if you guys are subscribed to the my newsletter, you'll see the Pocky comics where he's eating nuggets, or you know. I've had my fair share of laughs this week talking about the comic book with my friends. We're moving right on along today. Okay, this is all. I don't know what that is. Oh, so yeah, for sure, Richard. It's like the S curve and the C curve, and if you're more of like an angular line type of person, the S curve and C curve on, you know, being compounded underneath your the lines that you prefer. Like, I could understand why that's a little confusing, you know, because some people have the sharper edges and their art's very edgy, and some people have a very fluid approach to anatomy, and so you're trying to put these S and C curves underneath where your body's moving, but then you also want to overlay it with like really hard edges, so it's a little confusing. And our line approach is very personal too, like whether it's harder, straighter lines or just softer lines. And sometimes, you know, I would try to imitate the lines that I like, and they never felt right, and now I just kind of gave up on trying so hard, and now it's naturally kind of how I gravitate, or how I make my lines. There's some softness, and then there's some hardness to some of these edges. So let's just say like right here where his head is, where his hair is going to be, you know, it's going to be a little more soft, right? And then when you get up to, but it's still not like a perfect circle or whatever. There's still some edges to it. Like right here, you can see there's a harder edge. But yeah, that's just my preference. And since I was drawing Western comics for a long time, my style tended to be a little more on the Western side, but then my influences, you know, growing up were kind of like manga, anime, and Chinese comics, you know, Hong Kong comics. So my style was kind of a combination of all those things. Hey, what's up, Trevor? Lee Moore Studio asked if I've tried hand animation. Yes, I have. In fact, my very first video on YouTube, which I've deleted since because I was like, ooh, this is cringe. It was one of my creator-owned characters. It was a 2D animation of Lola in like the sewer, and I think the animation was like 3 seconds long, and I was so proud of myself. But yeah, that took so long. I'm like, yeah, probably not anytime soon. But yeah, it's, if you can and you have the time and you're able to learn, I say why not, because it could only help you with like understanding movement, gestures, and storytelling, you know, and being prolific with drawing because you have to draw so many frames. Yes, Richard, the only perfect circle is a pupil, and even then I don't use a ruler. Hey, what's up, Liz? How's it going, JD? Yes, Robert Capullo has the angular approach, and still, you know, his stuff is so fluid. It's like it's angle and fluid at the same time, and he's the one that got me to go, you know what, I want to start using one of these, I think it was him and one other artist. They were using the Mitsubishi, and so I was like, you know what, I'm going to try these pencils, and I fell in love with them. So I have like a couple boxes of these basically. I like to stick with, like, because of the paper I'm using, it has a little bit of teeth. I like H and HB lead. Once in a while I use a 2H where it's really, really hard. So I drew every day for 3 weeks until my sketchbook was filled. Then he must have, because he drew so much, he probably got really burnt out, right? I mean, if I had to draw, even if it wasn't studying for that long straight, it would be exhausting to fill a whole sketchbook. At some point, it's just like you're grinding away. It's kind of good actually to take breaks in between and just because your brain needs time for it to like kind of let all that stuff sink in, and then when you come back months later, you're like way better. It's so crazy how that works. Yeah, that's what I figured happened, Black Sun. Because even with me, who I'm, used to drawing, if I don't take a break and I, don't come back, take a break and wait and come back, it really is, it burns you out because your brain is constantly learning, and that uses up a lot of calories. But I promise you, if you went back to it right now, like tomorrow, and just kind of no expectations, just started drawing, your stuff would look really, really good. Your lines are probably a lot more soft, fluid than it was when you were practicing for 3 months straight. Or 3 weeks. 3 weeks, yeah. So if it burns calories, just eat a lot. Depends. I don't know how many calories it takes up to draw and think all the time, but it definitely feels like the more I chug away at my layouts, the hungrier I get earlier in the day. So, aw, JD, you're so sweet. You guys basically motivate me to like draw every weekend and feel good about it. So, thank you for being here with me. Otherwise, I'll find excuses to do something else sometimes. I'm gonna time myself to see if I can't ink this one panel in, like 40 minutes or something. That way I can move on to the other page. So Trevor asked if there's any tips on keeping a consistent weight. If you notice how when I let's just say I want to do like a straight line or something. Let's try down here so you don't see if I mess up. So what I do is I shadow over the paper a few times, and then I make my mark when I feel ready. And my brain is already basically focused more on the paper and not the brush itself. And then you lay a line down, and then you lightly, and then that's good practice. You could even do it before you start inking, and then you'll get consistent line weight. It all depends on the type of brush too. This one doesn't take as much effort because it's an awesome brush, and then people hold their brushes differently, but it's more of a wrist thing than it is for me, the fingers. So see, I don't put the line down right away. I kind of go over the area that I'm going to ink first, and then I put the line down. But I've done it so much that you don't notice it. But when I first started, kind of make sure I want to make that mark, and then I make the mark. So, and mind you, it's not always perfect, but more often than not, that's kind of why we use brush, so that you get the varying line weights, and it's a lot more interesting to look at. But of course, if I was to draw a car or something, I would probably not really use a brush for that. No worries. Ever use a dip pen? Yes, Liz. Sometimes I do if I need to like draw a really straight edge. Like if I wanted to ink the buildings in the back, like let's just say I had more time, I would use the nib for that. I would use this right here because I cannot locate all of my other nibs. So this is the only one I have right now. Since I moved, I don't know where I kept it, but I would like to start inking with those a little bit more. Yes, practice. Practice makes better. So here's another quick example for line weight. Consistent line weight. The longer the brush stroke, the more I shadow before I put the ink down. Hello, Mar from Portugal. And I love your symbol. Rock on. The Riley method, I don't know if I do. It's been a long time since I've read the book, so I probably have bits and pieces of it with my art, but I've gone so far away from stuff that I studied in books. I think the last anatomy book that I studied was Michael Hampton's book, which is my favorite, and the other one was it's called I keep forgetting this one. It's like drawing with dynamitism. I don't remember. In force, yes. The book is called Drawing, and then it's Force, and that is one of the better ones where it's like shows all this movement. It's a little bit less academic, you know. It's not one of those anatomy books that go crazy with muscle structure and all that. It's more about movement and shapes. So that was a cool book. It's good for animation. Yes, Kraken's Den, that's exactly it. That's the one. I'm getting to the bottom of my ink well here. Might have to break open a new bottle of ink, which sometimes isn't good when the ink is too runny. Then it's hard to control your line weight. know, Singapore Comic Con, that would be amazing. I know one colleague there in Singapore. That would be awesome to meet him in person. So it looks like a really beautiful place, and from what I could tell, amazing food. Oops, sorry guys. So Richard, how long does the brush last? Well, this one, if I'm using water-based ink, it can last at least a couple years, but if I'm a dummy and I use like the really thick ink, not very long, and I don't rinse it out well enough. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna switch back to that ink pretty soon, so I gotta be very aware. However, I cheated and I bought like a bunch of these brushes a couple years ago, so I have like, I think 3 of these left because they're so rare and expensive, and to get them shipped from Japan is just not good right now, and it's been expensive for the last 5 years anyhow. Yeah, you're right, Matt. Like, good food is so important, and even if it's not in the convention center, at least right outside of it would be nice. I bet Portugal's got amazing food. Oh my gosh, I gotta travel again. In fact, the next time I actually go to a convention, and I gotta confirm what the name of the convention is and the date, it's gonna be in Orlando in February. I'm gonna be going with my art rep, so if you guys are in the area, I will be there. And yeah, I can't really do anything before that. Like, I can't make it to New York Comic Con this year just because I have to get this book done, and launched and all that good stuff. And then I will have a reason to go to conventions, because right now I'm not, or for the longest time I wasn't really doing anything. Plus I was moving and all that stuff, so. Okay, let's stop procrastinating on his face. All right, guys, we're going in, but I'm gonna use a pen for this part. So, Ohuhu, I didn't know that they were acrylic. Are they acrylic? I thought they were water-based or alcohol-based. Is there an acrylic version of those? Because if there is, I would love to try it. I think acrylic markers are really important for like opaque lines and just going over the watercolor or alcohol markers, I guess. You guys know how much I hate doing faces before I finish the rest of the panel, but you guys need something to look at besides just his knees. TGI has acrylic too. Okay, you know what? I'm going to look into the acrylic markers, you guys. Thank you. Because that would be nice to have in my arsenal. But you need to be careful when you recommend supplies to me because I will buy everything. So, yeah, it's probably not good to tell me about new supplies. Oh, Darude. Awesome. Okay, great. I need to update my marker set. I haven't done that in a while. John's talking smack. Flowers and art supplies make her head spin. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Vince, yeah, I am keeping the marker game in business. And flower business, apparently. I'm a sucker for flowers and markers. Oh boy, no, 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 no. Don't tell me how much it costs for these things. I'm gonna end up buying all of it. Um, you would think I'm joking, but one person in the chat right now would know exactly what I'm talking about, and they've seen me trying to get rid of my stuff. So, but I really do need to get new markers, I think, because you know I need everything. Lyric. Okay, so you use the colorful Sharpies. Do they leave a smell by any chance, like the Sharpie markers? That's not like the ones that you use to, you know, the regular old black Sharpie. I know, Vince. He's, but you know what? Can I say this, Vince? Am I allowed to say this? Because I'm going to get myself in trouble. Remember Dak Prescott during the our draft this year? And so that was interesting a couple days ago, huh? That's my quarterback, or one of. I just hope none of my quarterbacks do anything crazier this year than that. At least score some points, you know? This might not be my year, Vince. Dak was always a good kid until this year. He's like, I'm tired of being a good kid. I'm just going to go and do something unquarterback-ish like. Hello, Peter. When you're not live streaming, do you play and artist YouTubers while you work? Sometimes I do. I don't remember their name. There's a couple of Korean artists that I like watching, and they have really good live streams. I think it starts with it's like 58 or something like that. I can't remember the name of that channel, but if you, yeah, I'll have to put it in the description, I think. But there's some really good artists. Like they have a kind of potent. I do use regular ones, but they do come in different colors. Yeah, I think that's the only thing with me, and even markers like Copics or alcohol markers is the smell. Because I was coloring my interior pages, Lola, with markers, and I didn't realize it, but it gave me a headache. And even with ventilation, it was just like it was too much after doing it for a few years. So I switched over to watercolors after that, and India ink, color India ink, just to color because it was, you know, scentless. Is your girl procrastinating again? Okay, we're not gonna draw his pupils yet, you guys, because I don't feel very confident right now, if I'm being honest. We're just gonna, he's gonna have no pupils for now. He's gonna be a vampire, basically. We'll do it last. How about that? Let's get to all the fun stuff. It's getting kind of bright. 1 second. Much better. Oh boy. Hey, Vince and John, you guys gotta take that outside, okay? Oh yeah, Vince, I would do a future video drawing. I'll show you all my drawing tools, but I'm embarrassed. That's why I haven't done it yet. And how do I rotate my camera so you guys can see my setup is actually, no, I don't want to do it because something will break probably. So yeah, but I'll show you definitely my art supplies. Maybe I'll do it right in between like this one and the next page or something. Rockchem, that guy has insane skill and knowledge. Edgardo, if you want to put his link down, I could check him out. Okay, so what are we doing? Oh, yeah. Back to the brush. Okay, I'm gonna switch to the other brush, so. Well, the first 2 games of the season have been a little crazy, haven't they? Interesting. So the skin tones for Sharpies are super smelly. I wonder if it has a lot to do with how much alcohol they have to put into it to dilute it to make it that less opaque, I guess. That makes sense. That's interesting. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's the dilution of alcohol versus tone to make it a certain color. Interesting. I never, I'm pretty sure other markers are the same way. Some colors will be, since they're more translucent, will smell a lot worse because of how much they have to put in there, but who knows? I would like to have special thanks to Vince for giving me really good writing feedback and editing feedback this week. I had fun chatting with you about writing, and that was awesome. And, as someone who worked with me for the longest time and being my editor and friend for, 20 years now, dude? At least. That was awesome. So thank you so much, Vince Hernandez, who's in the chat right now, for all of your advice and feedback on this book. So I'm excited. And thank you for being my champion from the beginning. But we had our fun, didn't we? And that's the craziest thing about doing your own book and publishing your own stuff is you don't realize how much teamwork it takes, and would rather do with a team than by yourself. It's just so consuming, whether it's you're doing more business stuff than you are drawing sometimes. So I'm very lucky. Rendering doesn't overpower. So Artemis, how do I make sure the background doesn't blend in with the foreground? Well, especially in this case, right? Because he wears a lot of black. And the background is the city and it's at night. So how you could make sure is, first you have to determine where the darkest parts are going to be in the scene. So you could pick either the foreground or the background. And in this case, I'm going to make sure that the foreground is going to be darker than the background, because there's going to be a light coming. So he's opening up like this hatch right here, and there's going to be light coming in. So since the light source is closer to the character in front, it's going to bounce from below. Which, 1 second, I want to make sure. Okay, so I was like, dude, his pants are too darker here. But the light's going to be coming here, so it's going to hit kind of like where his hands are, and then like his face and his hair is white, so it's a good contrast. And his knees right here, it's going to, if you could kind of see it where I outlined it a little bit, but you could always, shade it in first, and then if you need to break up the background from the foreground, you could make sure that you, in pencil, you kind of shade it in so you know where everything's at. So I know that the light's coming from here, and mostly right here, right? So then I just, shade it in like that, and I'll know where the darkest parts are. And so even though the background is at night in the sky, you could technically, when you color it in, it doesn't have to be black. It could just be like a bluish, purplish tone or something. And then you have lights that will, because there's light pollution, it's not going to be all solid black. But you could always do a thumbnail too, where I know Sean Murphy for sure, when he does his thumbnails, he knows where all the darkest parts are. He does it with Sharpie and stuff, and so he's well aware of like where the contrast would be. So it's a really quick way to explain that, I guess. See, Vince, you say I take criticism and actively seek it out. I don't think it's criticism at all. To me, it's that's critiquing, right? No, it's more like feedback. That's how I like to look at it. So Joel, who's in my fantasy lineup, or who's in Vince's and John Tomarovic's? Well, I have Joe Burrow. I have Dak Prescott. I have Matthew Stafford. I have, oh my gosh, My guy was Kelsey ran into him the other day. Xavier Worthy was on my team, and I have Saquon Barkley. Who else do I have? I have Keenan Allen. I mean, we have a dynasty league, right, Vince? So there's a few rookies in there that I haven't even looked at yet. So, and truth be told, I joke with Vince and Frank and John like about not knowing who's on my bench right now, and it's not completely wrong. I like literally set my lineup like the couple hours before the first game started on Thursday. So, yeah. Yeah, I know, Vince. We're stuck with him. I wonder whose fine idea that was to do Dynasty. But then again, that's easier for me because then I don't have to pay attention to, all the guys that are coming into the league. Hello, Nico from Brazil. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. So we got most of this outlined, and you see how I'm procrastinating on his hand. Okay, 1 second. Sorry. So I could take it two ways right now. I could go to the next page or finish his hair. Or no, sorry. I could just draw his hands. No, I'll just do that. So you guys can kind of see my approach when I'm procrastinating. So we're using the black wing. Which one is this one? Pearl. So Vince, I'm holding out hope that I'm still going to beat Mark this week, even though he's 73% chance going to win this week. I'd hate to start the first game losing, so. Well, yeah, I forgot he won last year, didn't he? Oh, another Broncos fan, Alexander. That's so funny because we've met a few people who are Broncos fans lately, and it's pretty insane. I didn't know that there were so many of you guys. But I joked like, we had Russell Wilson in Seattle when he was at his peak, and then he ended up in Bronco territory. Something. Nice. So Peter, I'm hoping we could print a black and white version of it for one of the tiers, and I just have to look at the pricing for that. But if we reach our goal, definitely, like I would love to have a black and white version of the book. I feel like it was kind of drawn that way for the most part, and then I started coloring it. I was like, man, I'm so used to the black and white version. But so I'm gonna be coloring the book as well, and then I'll make sure we maintain and I scan all the black and white portions of it. In fact, I might even start scanning the pencils too, so that in the sketchbook that I'm going to include with the Kickstarter, there's going to be, you know, some behind the scenes stuff, and maybe I could go into detail on like my process and just a lot more thorough than some of my videos or my episodes where I'm just kind of like glossing over each stage. But I realize like there's a lot of stuff that happens in between, you know, before the book is even completed and you see colors and layouts. It's just so involved, but I've been doing it for so long, like I kind of, yeah, I'm like, oh, of course you just do it like this, but it's a lot more work than that. So in fact, initially I was just kind of playing around with the idea because markers take a long time and they're more expensive to color with, and so the next time I do a book and color it traditionally, you know, how I used to do it with markers, I'm thinking about doing it with India ink. And so I did some sample, I think I showed you guys last week, was it? Some samples of how it would look if it was colored with India ink, which, let's see if I can show you really quick. So this is the ink I was using for the sample pages. And I have, you know, like 12 different colors. And, you know, it's always, the tricky thing is always like the skin color. So what I did was I mixed my own skin tone with like white and yellow and sepia tone and stuff. So if I've like figured that out, maybe we'll do either the cover for this book in, you know, color, full color, or just in black and white. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Like, should I do, maybe I'll do a variant cover with like color or something. Yeah, I think I'll do that. It's funny because I think most of this Kickstarter is just me getting excited about like sniffing paper again. Sniffing ink and paper when it's printed. Oh, I'm such a... Yeah, you know what? If you buy, you know, the empty jars of ink, the ink jars that you could get with a dropper, you could actually mix your own color, and then, you know, you get yourself like a consistent skin tone. Because what problem I ran into is every time I need to mix a new batch of the skin tone onto the same character, it would look splotchy, you know. So I learned just to mix it from scratch, you know. But the problem with using the white, because it's opaque, is it dries quicker, like in the jar itself. So you gotta add more water, I guess, water it down. So Descena, I'm hoping that I could get it delivered overseas. I'm gonna have to look at the shipping logistics on that, but definitely the Kickstarter is open to everybody at this point, and I'm still working out the logistics on that, but I'm sure that we're gonna have like a really robust digital tier for the Kickstarter. So that's gonna have like the digital copy of the book, some maybe tutorial stuff, and yeah, some digital versions of like maybe the sketchbook or something, so that so you're not like really missing out on not getting anything at all. So at the very least, I know that for sure we're gonna do that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure we could ship everywhere, and we'll figure all that out. So Frank is helping me with that. Frank at Aspen, and Vince. Comics is a powerful drug. Yeah, when you're sniffing ink, Marv, it definitely is. Okay, let's just outline his hair and his face. I need to just, because it's bothering me that it's not done yet, so. Ooh, there's a new Alien series? Where is that at? Toyota. Any recommendations for a starter brush? Switching from pen to digital. I say this one because you could do, okay, so maybe do a number 4 instead of a 6 if you want like a thinner line, and it's a round brush and it's synthetic, so that's the cheapest you're going to be able to get, and it's the bristle is really fine, so it's not like a, make sure it's like a watercolor brush. If you get like an acrylic brush, it's thicker bristle, so it won't be as smooth, but yeah, something like this would be really good as a beginner brush. So oh, no, you're welcome. See, look at this. So many brushes. What does this look like? Nope, too thick. Okay. Let's try this one. Oh, I don't have Disney or Hulu. Dang it. Well, I'll watch the trailer and see if I could just subscribe to it or something. Okay, so Miss Mark, a black and white edit version. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try to shoot for the black and white version. See how that's all gonna work out. And the way I look at it is like, as someone who's obsessed over art, I kind of wanted my, not only the book itself, but the Kickstarter to be things that I myself would love to have from someone else, you know? So, try to think of all the cool stuff I'd want. Swag and like sketchbooks, and I mean, even when my friends, they do Kickstarters, I will like back their book just so I could get all the really cool extra stuff, like sketchbooks, black and white editions, things like that, behind the scenes, you know. The only reason why I don't have like a ton of books right now is because I moved around a lot, and this place is so small, and I have a tiny bookshelf behind me, as you guys could see. Oh, you're welcome, Artemis. Yes, Peter. We are gonna put a lot of cool stuff in there. So it's funny because I started ordering sample swag couple years back, just to, you know, kind of get everything streamlined and the way I want it to look. So I have some of the swag already in hand, just waiting for the book to be done, so then we could start seeing them. So okay. Let's just finish some of his hair. Sound effects. That's a cool way to spell it. Hey, what's up? Oh, Liz. Thank you. I mean, that's kind of why I'm here, right? I just want to inspire other artists, and to be honest, when I see other people drawing, and it motivates me too. So it's like it's a win-win. It's a, you know, it's a constant cycle. And, you know, for a while there, I wasn't like, I don't feel like I was improving my art very much, because I just did it for work, and I didn't really have time to study. But every time I see like really nice art, it inspires me. So oh, cool, Miss Mark. Yeah, awesome. Well, I'll keep that in mind then. See if I can't do a little tiny workshop of my approach. Because I know you guys are seeing this stuff, but maybe the things that you don't get to see because you'd be on my screen forever, right, is kind of how I lay out these pages, and I have different approaches. And so to get from layouts, you know, from story layouts to to even just putting something on the page itself and picking the angles for like certain scenes, I could see why that would be kind of scary. So, my foot is cramping. I have to take my shoe off. 1 second. Oh, my foot is cramping. Ouch. Why when you drop it, look at the same time? Why is it like that? It's just kind of like since this is my own book, it's kind of my own the style preference that I have. So I kind of like a little bit of both. And if you see it when it's colored, it leans a little bit more towards it's really super in the middle actually. It looks like it's, oh, my foot's cramped. Ouch. Oh. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So when I color it, because most manga is black and white, it merges the two in a weird way where it's not super obvious anymore. I don't know if I have an example here, but I don't think so. So, you know what? Maybe next week, I'm gonna color one of the pages or the cover in Clip Studio Paint. You guys will see how, even though it looks like this, once you color it, because of all the features that you put in, then it starts to take that edge away a little bit. So it's like an in-between style that I just preferentially, this is what I like. I like it to be a little bit of both. So. And that's kind of why I'm leaving some parts blank, because I'm going to be coloring this, so I don't want to go too crazy with the inking. It takes all that, the effects I'm trying to do away, so. Yeah, I love hybrid styles. Is that a new Naruto character? Oh, no, it's not. Although, I was inspired by Naruto, like, a decade ago when he first came out a long time ago, so yeah. So sound effects, you struggle to publish. When you say publish, do you mean struggle to show it to people or to actually put it out and have it printed? If you, I can answer both, I guess. Or maybe you mean printing. I think a good way to start is like, I know like a lot of conventions, they're very, they're tight on table space. So you kind of have to, you know, apply to as many conventions, the smaller ones as possible. And then you could get your book printed on demand. Mixum is doing them now. So you could print however many copies you need and then just kind of have your books at conventions. Or maybe start a website and sell them online and post your pages online and then kind of send people to your shopping cart online maybe. So that's a good way to start. Or you could even go through Amazon KDP, which does print on demand as well. So when someone orders it on Amazon, they get your book. Granted, it's been a while since I've checked the quality of their prints. I think they're pretty good. Shipping wise, if your book isn't thick, if I'm being honest, sometimes they put it in the flimsy Amazon bags and it just ruins your book, and that might not be good. So if you have a thick book though, like a manga, you should be okay. So Raphael, tell us more about your favorite artists and references that inspire you lately. Well, so a couple years ago, I started a mood board for this book, like of the artists I like and the vibe I was going for, and just references, right? And so I have so many of accumulated, but so Hyung Tae Kim was one of my very, very first inspirations for style. I was like, okay, I gotta draw a book that looks like that kind of stuff, and that was years ago. And ever since then, I've kind of moved on to a few other like Korean artists, and I'm trying to remember his name right now. He is the concept artist for Final Fantasy Online. He does a lot of their stuff, and even some of the main Final Fantasy character designs. I'm trying to remember his name. He worked on Final Fantasy 12. I know that for sure. Yes, Whimslore. It's a Cyberpunk mood board. I have that. It's I could, you know what? I wonder if I could share it online somehow, because I know I can't get it printed because then it's copyright infringement. So maybe I could share you some of the stuff I found online somehow, like maybe Pinterest or something. And what's good about mood boards is you accumulate so much of that imagery that you, yes, that's right, Akiko Yoshida, that's the one. Thank you, Eric. Akihiko. But you know, you speak the language once you start to like digest all that stuff, and you do it over and over again for a long period of time. Then it's kind of like the look and feel of it is inherent, and it's not something you have to like constantly go back to. So I've had good experience of that. However, there's some things that are very specific where I gotta use references, But Pinterest is a really good place just to look at the different art. And I noticed there's a lot of, I guess people were saying there's a lot of AI art on there. I mean, I could tell when they're AI, but, well, for the most part. Which is kind of silly in a way because this is a cyberpunk book and there's a lot of AI things that happen in the book. Vince knows specifically, and you guys will see pretty soon what I mean, but it deals with a lot of how AI is right now and stuff. Not just in art, but just in the world in general, how it changes the world. So that's a subject I touch on in the book itself. I know. Oh, thank you so much, Turpentine Rick. I love your name. Do you use oils? Is that what you're saying? I haven't used turpentine in a while. Yeah. I used to try to do what Bob Ross does with his brush when he cleans it off. He like whacks it onto the easel and he makes this noise, and I love that sound. So, and for those, I know Cyberpunk is great for those themes. I figured perfect timing too. So layouts, you know what? I might have a layout right here to show you guys. The left side of my desk is gradually piling up with Neo Wonderland layouts and pages, and it's just a mess, or it's not in order. Oh, okay. Ooh. This could end poorly. Okay. Okay, so this is a very long layout of all my pages. So this is 40 pages worth of story right here. Some of the pages I didn't bother even putting on the thumbnail, but this is just basically what I have planned. So if you look at this right now, this is page 2 basically. And I could tell what's going on, maybe you don't. So yeah, sorry, I just got a text message. So this is page 2. It doesn't look exactly the same, but as long as I know for the most part what it is, sometimes I don't. But if I don't, I just write stuff up here. And yeah, I'm gonna see if I could compare. I try not to show pages where there's too much going on in terms of like where is this page? Oh, see, this page isn't in the layout either. What was I saying? I don't want to show too many. Oh yeah, pages where there's too much fighting, because then I don't want to get in trouble. Flagged on YouTube, but maybe this is okay. All right, so let's see. This page is right here. You can kind of see it. He's like right here, and then there's this. Wait, barely see it. So yeah. If only you guys knew what was going on here. But yeah, this is the page right here. And this is the page that we worked on, was a couple of streams ago. And I started inking this panel, so in the face. Okay, so someone asked, oh, Wimslore, are you printing onto drawing paper the boxes and words on top? Actually, I'm going to do it in Clip Studio Paint, so I'm using software, and the other popular software for lettering is Adobe Illustrator, but I'm using Clip Studio Paint for my word balloons, and I still might have to get someone else to do it. I'm just going to put the word balloons in place and then have them move it around and make it all pretty and stuff, because that's a lot of work. But right now I have this here because I didn't write what he's saying on the script, so I don't want to forget what I wanted him to say or the vibe of it. So I just wrote everything on the page itself. I mean, I don't want to read to you guys what he's saying because it's a spoiler, I guess. But he's going into the rabbit hole, basically. How do I determine, Ronan, what I could just ink on the fly and then what I could keep? As long as, I think you have to pick what you want to know more of or remember. What's the most important thing? It's the story, right? Story and maybe the vibe. So emotional, maybe vibe of the scene. So if it's not speaking to me emotionally and story-wise, and I know, let's see, then I know that I could change it, and I know it seems small. Like if I look at these lines, I'm like, okay. But if his eyes look a certain way, then it's like, okay, I gotta adjust it. And if I'm not sure how I feel about something and whether I'm confident enough to ink it, I leave it blank like his hand. I'm like, you know what, I could probably do a little bit more. I'll probably just come back to that. So that's kind of how I do it. That's why I jump around a lot. Like anything I'm not sure about, but I know that if let's just say I ink the sword, it's not going to affect how I feel about the hand. I could probably still move along and not take up too much time and just like get stumped on something and still make progress and be able to adjust things, while I'm inking. And I think if you squint your eyes, you also see the shapes better, and then you basically are able to get the composition and the shapes right. So, and maybe the value. So here we go. We're gonna do the sword with this ink, with this brush, and I know you guys probably want to see doing a straight line with a brush, straight-ish line. It's not really a straight line though, but I need to make sure my cameras don't die. 1 second. So let's see. Thank you so much, you guys. What do I use to scan my work? I use the Epson Workforce. I think it's like 7710 or 20. I think that's what it is. It's like a good all-around scanner / printer, and it's print 11 by 17, and it scans, I think, 12 by 18, maybe a little bit bigger than that, maybe. Marv, I don't have technically any artists in my family. For me, I got inspired because I don't know. It's a good question. I started drawing and no one told me to stop, and then I just loved art. And then I saw Jim Lee and I saw Bob Ross early on as a kid, and that kind of those were the formative years. And then they had all those really cool morning cartoons, and I just kept drawing, so never stopped. But to inspire me to do it professionally, I think it was Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, and Michael Turner. Like really pushed me to want to do it. So. Yeah, Alexander Silvestri. I was just talking about him today. Like his lines are awesome. Like his movements and the lines, it's inspiring to me. obviously. That's kind of my my little way of doing it that way, I guess. Jim Lee does that too. There's a lot of artists that do really great shading lines. So. And I wasn't always able to do this. It took a while, and I really wanted it so bad that I just started sketching in my sketchbook, which I guess is how you approach it. Like if there's something you really want to learn to do, I guess you just keep at it. And so I have sketchbooks right now. If you go and look, you'll see when I started inking how it looked when I first started, and then afterwards. And I would just like go onto Google and look at some images and try to turn them into black and white in my head, and then ink it that way. And then I just kind of got comfortable with it. So. Oh, awesome, Richard. I don't know them. I might know their work. Peter, yes, the Epson Workforce. That's the one. Mm-hmm. So Echo asked, do you have any artist influence that are non-comics, like those from the days of old that Renaissance painters or Baroque once, or maybe like okay, you know who I love is Jesus, his name just skipped my head. Okay, he painted a lot of landscapes. It's if John was here, he'd be able to tell me. Who am I thinking? Beardstadt. Albert Beardstadt was one of my favorites, and I love a lot of the like Rembrandt was one of my favorites. And I was fortunate enough I was in Amsterdam, and I got to see a lot of their works in the museum, and it is just amazing. And a lot of the floral paintings in there, because I love flowers, they blew my mind. Because when I was going to college, we had art history, and then when I was in high school, my art teachers gave me a still life photo, like photo book basically, and it had all these really cool painters in there, and they're all European, and I was like, man, I want to see these things in real life. So I was able to do that a couple years ago, and so blessed to see their stuff in real life. It's so different than seeing things, in a book, especially with the scale of how big some of these paintings are. It's just mind-blowing. And the fact that they've been around for hundreds of years is even crazier to me. So if that doesn't tell you that artists are always going to be relevant, then I don't know what will. I think that they're always going to have creators and artists, storytellers and painters. Yes, artists are relevant one way or another. We, at least for now, we design houses, we design products, and I know AI is going to be doing some designing, but I think we can't underestimate the power of human connection and our desire for it. And if you keep that in mind, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. You just have to adapt and just, be as good as you can be with whatever you're doing. So. I think I mentioned this a few weeks ago. I was talking to, I think it was John, about chess, and I said, even though AI and computers can beat a master chess player, it doesn't mean that people are going to want to watch two computers playing chess. Is that a fair assessment? You're not going to ever want to watch two chess players that are not human. The reason why we watch human chess players is because they give us a window into the potential of humanity. Even if you're not like a chess player or plan on being one, it's just the idea that someone could run as fast as they can, climb without ropes, and swim as well as they do, and survive in icy cold water, and just the human endurance is what matters to us. And that's why we tell stories, and that's why we do things, and that's why we support human ingenuity. So that's why I'm less afraid of AI taking away things that are very important. And I understand that it's still not a good thing, but the cat's out of the bag with that one. So, but I'm writing a story. A lot of it has to do with that whole how things are going to change in the future, and so there's going to be a lot about that in the book. Okay, Marv, we have a good evening. Thank you for hanging out with us. So I guess that's good night for you. Did you ever hear about one of the vendors getting banned from DragonCon because they were all AI? Vaguely, but I guess nothing really surprises me right now. So I'm kind of like peripheral, kind of, there's an understanding, I guess. Peter, yes, you follow people because their journey excites you, and it makes us feel more human too. And that's what we are. We're human beings, so mammals at the very least. Oh, that's awesome, Echo. So they announced the new Superman book? That's sweet. I'm pretty sure they're gonna... more will come out during Comic-Con. New York Comic-Con, so... So there's another technique I could show you really quick. It's so if you lay your brush kind of flat and you press down on it, you get like, broader shapes, and then you can actually go in there and fill it in. So now it looks more like fabric. So let's do one more right here, kind of like that. You could wait for it to dry a little bit, or you could go over it right now and add some texture to it, so it's not just one shade. So that's a nice little shortcut, and I feel like I should probably start doing that right now. So I guess you could call it a shortcut. Strategy for getting more ink in. So, see. I knew that when I started this stream that his clothes was going to take the longest because he's wearing black, and I don't want to rush through it, so it's taking up quite a bit of time. And okay, so another thing I could show you is, let's do like really fine lines with this tip. So to get like really fine lines, I actually see my hands are much closer to the brush, the bristle part of it, and then you get like nice straight lines. And my thumb's over my index finger, which is probably kind of hard for you guys to tell because I'm left-handed, so it's probably a little confusing. But just remember, thumb and fingers closer to the brush, the bristle, and then you're gonna get smaller lines that way. Let's do that again right here. Richard, yes, after I'm done inking and I'm going to scan them. So, and then I'm going to take it into Clip Studio and start to color these pages. And then I might do the cover with ink, like color ink, but I'm not sure yet, or markers. So it all depends on time too. Oh, thanks, Rage Monkey. I'm spinning my page around because, you know, whatever it takes to make the best lines. What is it like? Odd one no cafe asks, what is it like being a comic owner creator? Advice. I'm assuming that you're more art centric. So just pick. I mean, to start, I guess pick whatever story you feel like you're compelled to tell right now, and you want to draw. Like that would be fun for you to draw, and kind of, you know, do a short story, maybe 5-10 pages first, kind of get your feet wet, and then see how you enjoy it, and like what parts of that, I guess, job description you like the most, and then kind of build on that, sort of. Because for me, it's mostly like the drawing part of it, right? And then the story part is kind of second nature to me in a way, because when you're drawing comic books, you naturally want to write as well. So I would start like that. That's how I would start. And if you want to publish it, then there's a few different ways to publish it online nowadays, whether it's webtoons and it's digital, or you do print on demand with, like, let's just say Mixum, Blurb, I think does it, and Amazon if you want distribution. They have a really good KDP printing program where you could sell and print your own stuff. So what did I struggle with the most? 177 Lazy Fox asked. Probably hands, right? Pretty typical difficulties as an artist. Okay. Echo, yeah, I think it has become very trendy, and it's about to get even more trendier because I think Disney, I don't know if they partnered with them or they bought a portion of it. I didn't really read the story, but Disney is going to have a huge influence on it pretty soon here, so it's going to become even trendier. But it's where you get seen as an artist, I guess, in your story, and you can get your feet wet, and you know, you might be a crowded market pretty soon here, but you know, it's gonna be like that with everything at this point. So you just kind of have to do what you love and want to do. And if you got people supporting you, I'd say do it regardless, you know, because when you get older and you got like bills and family, and you know, that it gets kind of hard. Oh, thank you so much, Rob. So this is going to take a bit for me to do because there's so much shading I want to do. Maybe I'll just go with that right there, so you guys could kind of see how you go from like the harsh white negative space to the black in like a nice smooth transition. So this, I'm probably going to want like a drier brush or really watered down ink where it's almost gray, so that there's a nice transition for it. Whim's Lore, I don't know if Disney bought webtoons. I know Disney has a huge involvement with them. I can't remember what I read, so please don't quote me. If you want to look it up, you could probably figure it out right now. I might be wrong though. But I know there's something huge going on. Get ready for a lot of crossovers. So I don't know if you guys saw on my, I think, Instagram, the Rocketfellers preview came out for issue 9, and you could see one of the pages. It's a double page spread where there's a lot of action lines and movement, and boy, was that page fun to draw, even though it was really sad what happened in the story. But yeah, the double page spread was nothing but movement, like action lines, and I was so happy to do it. Yeah, Odd One O Cafe. I have friends who, obviously, um, they have to find the time to do it, and you do what you can. And, sometimes even as professional artists, we have to do it that way. So thank you so much, JD. Yeah, you know what, Rocketfellers, I'm going to give Pete Tomasi and Francis all the credit for coming up with such a crazy concept and, kind of guiding me through their system of how to do things. Because, like I think I mentioned before, different teams have a slightly different way of approaching a project and how their dynamics are as artists and writers and stuff like that. So they were really good at like onboarding me, and I learned a lot from just how they worked and everything. So I gotta be careful not to over ink it because the light source, remember, it's coming from the bottom. So, and then you have to think about the city that's behind him. It's also kind of bright, so you don't want to over ink and then have to fix it in Photoshop or white ink or something. Oh, thank you so much. Alessandro. So you got Lola on Amazon. Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope so too. You know what? I got like a reference for some publishers I might be able to go with or distributors over in Brazil and Europe as well. So I got to get in contact with them and kind of do a follow up to see if that's possible. Okay, thank you. That's what I thought, Pisces. Yeah, it was a partnership because I'm like, if they bought Webtoons, I think everybody would have talked about it and knew about it. So it was some crazy partnership. So, yep. Oh, Steven, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm going to give Francis a ton of credit for that. He's so good. I don't know if you guys have seen Francis Manapul's more recent episodes. If you guys want to learn how he does things, and it's legit streamlined and very resourceful, and well, he's modest, and he'd probably be like, no, I'm not. But go check out Francis Manapul's most recent episodes about how he scans. He actually has one about how he scans his pages, and about how he I think he inks and lays them out too, and he's got like 3 or 4 new videos that are amazing. So if you guys want to learn some more stuff in a really nice, neat, beautifully shot package, you go check out Francis's YouTube channel. Yeah, Francis is an amazing artist and amazing person. So lucky that we still have him like actively working in the industry. So Richard, how do I do gradients of black? I guess you could. There's 2 ways to do it. You could do it with watering down your ink, or you could do it with how I did the speed lines, and that's kind of a way of doing it. But if you don't want to do any of that traditionally, because it might be, kind of you have to get used to the approach, then you could just do screen tones on software like Clip Studio Paint has a really good way of doing that. I don't know if I could, is there a gradient I could show you guys? Oh, thank you so much, Laser Fox. Yeah, Ryan Benjamin is also an amazing teacher, and he loves to do it. Like you could tell, he loves to teach, and he's just completely in love with it. He's a lot like Kim Jong Gi, where if he could draw all the time, he probably would. Oh, you're welcome, Richard. Oh, really? Jorge did that? You know what? I'm not surprised. He's amazing. He has a really cool gradient process, and then he just paints over it, and it looks amazing. And another one of my favorites is Kenneth Rockfort. He is an awesome traditional artist who can also color. He could also letter. He's just a madman. He's one of my favorite artists. And I was fortunate enough to get a Lola XOXO original cover done by him. So yeah, that was like my bucket list. So this is actually a Japanese Kiritake brush. And you know what? If I let's see. I you know what? I'm gonna go to the store and see if I can't find the same kind of brush, a Winsor & Newton, and see if I can't do the same thing. So, hey Sandra, hi. Oh my gosh, thank you for stopping by the stream. That means a lot to me. How you doing, girl? Yeah, Kiritaki's amazing. Oh, Joey, you're not late. I'm just gonna keep inking until I feel like this piece looks good if I went away from it and you guys don't have like a half finished panel here. Sound effects, that's because I love Sean's work. So he was one of the first ones that inspired me to be like, you know what, maybe I want to ink my own stuff too. So and if you watch, I think it was the podcast episode we did like a year ago, he kind of talks about his process a little bit. So but if you also bought his Kickstarter, I think it was the Mask of Zorro, is it the Mask of Zorro? I forgot what it was, but it's one of his workshops is in there. So I'm gonna be trying to haul a lot of these pages, and so I'm gonna be working on this book full time for the most part, Monday through Friday, inking, penciling, maybe 10 hours a day, and then on the weekends working on like, commissions, and then all the business stuff, I guess, during the week. So this is my full-time gig for the next 3-4 months. Sandra, everybody's head's gonna explode. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, Sandra, I cannot communicate and work. You should see my first stream where I didn't draw anything for like an hour, basically. But after 7 streams, you're like, you know what? I might be able to do this. This is really good for me, actually, to talk and ink at the same, or ink. But I don't know if I could do layouts and talk. That's impossible for me. I could barely listen to music and do layouts. But inking is a little bit more automatic, but even that's not for sure. But at least today, so far, I don't have to pull out the whiteout marker. Joey, you're so funny. Yeah, I'm glad you did. I was like, where's Joey at today? Probably working. Okay, let's see if I could speed this up a tad bit without messing up you guys. Okay, so here's my my little trick. Side brush, and you just kind of fill it in if you know it's going to be black, of course. And we can't forget our light source, so we're not going to go over that part. But to speed things up, I just, you know. And then we don't want to blend that in either, so let me think here. This is a lighter gray. By the way, it's okay to mess up because I might be doing that soon here because I'm going so fast. I said I was going to speed it up and I just slowed down even more. Okay. I think some of these spots I might need to think a little harder about before I start going crazy and then having to fix it in post. So I don't know if I planned this out right. If his light's coming. Oh, my cameras are all turning off. So this is the Sumi Inka from Kuretake Zig. So Richard Wills asked when you guys could donate to Kickstarter. So the projected launch date is going to be October 28th, which is in a few weeks. There'll be a pre-launch page, so you guys will get to at least be notified as soon as the Kickstarter goes live. But I might have something where there's like an early bird, and if you're on the mailing list, the newsletter that's on the official website, there might be like a little special thing in there for you guys. So, and there's that inside joke. I don't know if you guys remember from a few streams ago where we had the guy with the vampire teeth fangs that smiley face on his arm. That's kind of our inside joke for YouTube. So you're gonna see that as well. So I'll figure out what the swag is going to be as an exclusive. Harlem the Goat. If I could think, I'm thinking like The Wake by Sean Murphy and Scott Snyder. That one was really good. That one inspired me. I like it when it's angled, and since I'm filming, that's why it's flat. But usually, I like my table angled a little bit, so that my perspective isn't all warped. But yeah, because that's what. Oh, thank you so much, Joey. Oh, and I have to remind everybody because sometimes people forget or they don't see it, or maybe it goes into the spam folder. If you hit, sign up for the newsletter, it asks you to verify your email. And there's a few people that forgot to verify their email, so it's not showing up on the mailing list itself. So please go to the spam box if you guys don't see it, and then you could verify your email there. And the reason why I do it that way is because otherwise there'll be a bunch of spam bots and stuff trying to get into the newsletter and then just destroy everything. So I have to make sure that only humans subscribe to the newsletter. Thank you so much, Arthur. Well, I appreciate it, and it's so nice to see you in person, and you're always like a friendly face, and even just seeing your name is really sweet. So thank you so much. A few weeks, you mean September 28th, maybe? Oh, well, no, Peter, I do mean, sorry, October 28th. To me, in my head, I'm like, it's only a few weeks away, but yeah, technically it's, a little bit over a month, yeah, from now. So that gives me time to get everything streamlined and, ready to go. And I have a lot of good help, so I'm not doing it by myself, and they have experience, and so I'm one of the lucky ones, because, what happened here? Some of my friends, aren't so lucky, so, where they've had to do everything themselves. I think it's good. Oh yeah, Scotty Young is amazing. His channel is awesome, and he's funny, so that always helps. And you know what? I like it when he inks with his Kiritake brushes. His Pentel pocket brushes. Yeah, Jay Ryan, this year has blown by so fast that you know what? I get dates wrong and I get times wrong because I don't really pay attention. And the fact that I'm working so much right now, every day bleeds into each other, and every week it seems like, time is speeding by, Plus, I don't live in the woods anymore, so definitely the speed has gone way up. So I'm going on a couple of friends' podcasts, and once I check my text message and verify the time and date, I'll let you guys know which podcast and when. Because I'm sure there's many of you who I've actually seen in passing in their live stream, so I get to hang out with other artists, which is my favorite thing to do. Man, I'm honestly, if it wasn't for you guys here with me every week, I'd be so nervous to do anything like this. And to launch my own book after 25 years, it's kind of embarrassing. And I have a lot of people who've been following the book since we're talking MySpace days. It's a long time ago. So I think now is the time to release it. If not now, then when, right? And then after this ongoing series, I'm gonna do my dragon book. So maybe in a couple years, you guys, I'll have my own publishing company. If the market should have me. Luan, hello. like to ink with a zebra brush pen, but the tip is a tiny bit flat. Need to use other pens to do details. I'm trying to remember what the zebra brush tip looks like. You know, I wonder if I have one. You know, I have so many supplies, I don't know what I have. My top 3 favorite writers. 177 asked, can they be artist writers or do they have to be just exclusively writers? I like Peter Tomasi, not to be, you know. So to pick favorites here, I love my friend Vince. I love some of Scott's work because he has so many. I have to go back and read them all and see which ones I like. But I love The Wake when he had, and American Vampire. That was cool. This is where I'm like, oh my gosh, my friends and my favorite writers. I mean, and then there's contemporary writers, and then there's the old school writers. So, yeah, you know what? I probably shouldn't say anything because then it sounds like I'm being biased. Because I ended up working with a lot of other writers that I looked up to, and then my friends became writers, and so it's like it's hard not to sound like you're, you know, mooching. Well, I mean, I think the ones I like are pretty typical of like someone getting struck by a car. I love all of them. I have not collaborated with Todd, but we follow each other on Instagram, and I love his work. Fallen Star Gods. If I get one first, I'll get yours first. Pinky swear. Pinky swear. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm practicing with my Kickstarter, and if things go well, and I know, because I don't like to like jump into the deep end because I literally can't swim, but I'm just getting my feet wet, and if I find that I enjoy the business side of it, I would love to publish books, you know, because I'd like to keep the whole thing alive. It's just do my part, because I'm not the only one, but do my part in keeping comic books special, you know, in the medium itself. So, did you see the, yes, Pinky swear. Pinky swear, Joey. Because I have friends that run, you know, publishing companies, and I myself know how hard it is just to get one book off the ground, let alone a dozen, you know. And then distribution is an interesting thing nowadays too. So, but it's good to try things out in little bite sizes and then see how you feel about it. Like I opened my own shop a couple years ago just to kind of get the idea of fulfillment and the logistics of that. And then this Kickstarter, I'm learning from scratch, I guess, how to do everything. But then I have my friends who've done it who are kind of guiding me along and making sure I'm on track. So I'm lucky in that way that I have people helping me. But I think that's kind of another thing is you could do things alone, but if you have a team, ideally that's what you want, and it's good to practice working in a team. So, and also enjoying spreadsheets. I've learned this past few weeks that you gotta love doing spreadsheets because there's a lot of it. And I joke with John, I was like, man, to start drawing and doing my art stuff, it's on the other side of doing spreadsheets. So. So Nahimia Lockett, you draw dragons, ninjas, and planets and superheroes. Can you help me find a way to become a professional artist? So do you draw them as like concept art characters? Do you have like maybe video games? So you want to do concept art, or do you want to do like comic books and stories and stuff? So Robert, yes, I was going to surprise you guys, but yes, pages will be offered in the Kickstarter tiers, and I think right now we have. I have to look through it, but I think we have covers, promo art, and pages and sketches available. I think we have at least 10 tiers, and each page or each item is going to have its own tier, so that if you back that tier, you know for sure you're going to get that page or that cover. And so this page is also going to be offered on the Kickstarter, so along with the comic book. Oh yes, so you know, it's kind of hard to tell people to put. So Nahimia, so I'll just call you Lockett. I would recommend at one point, like, you put your art up on conceptart dot, is it org, or I forgot what some of the ones were where people posted concept art, but you know, I know a lot of people complain about those websites. So I guess Instagram and showing your work and having maybe a portfolio site, you could build it for free on some of these platforms like Squarespace and stuff, and just have a portfolio of your work. And if people see that you have that and you have, you know, an Instagram page, or maybe, yeah, ArtStation, that's what it is. Thank you, Polo. Then people know that you're taking it seriously. And then it's also good to put your work up on social media in a way, because then hopefully you'll get some Joey. Then people know you're serious, and then you could probably build like a community, and then you could improve, and people could watch you improve. And the more momentum you pick up and the more you improve, the more people like your stuff. And a lot of guys and girls who are managing these teams for video games and movies, they are on social media, and they will find people, and you'll get there, you know. So that's how I recommend you get professional work. You have to first show that you are prolific and you do a lot of it, and that you're willing to put yourself out there, and they'll see you. It used to be you could send them your resume and your portfolio, but nowadays it's easier for them to just pull up your Instagram or Substack or whatever social media you're using. Oh, okay. Tech Echo's leaving. Okay, well, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see you later. I just realized I went a little long today. Thank you. Can, do I think Jim Lee's X-Men 90s was fun to ink back then? Heck yeah. And you know what? If Sandra's still here, she could tell you she got to ink, and still does ink, Jim's work. And I wish I could ink Jim's work. So yeah, it looks amazing. Oh, nice. So yeah, Joey, that's a good idea. TikTok. I was going to say TikTok, but I don't have any proof. But luckily, if you're doing TikTok and it's working, then yeah, I would say TikTok works as well. And the traction and the amount of people on TikTok is insane. So I'm just lazy, and I'm kind of like set in my ways right now with the different platforms I have, and it's already a lot of work. I can't keep up with that. Maybe I'll hire someone to help me with that sooner than later, especially with this book coming out. Okay, let's add a little bit right here to his arm. His shield, or his armor, I should say. So the concept for his outfit, if I could finish this up, it's kind of half, a little bit of like military vest with samurai influences. So like this would be like a Kevlar material if you wanted to look at it that way, and this is a vest, and the way that it's tied and put together, it looks like it's samurai armor, but if you saw it in real life, it'd look more like military kind of, you know, uniform outfits and armor and stuff. So, and I can't wait to show you guys the sword, but you can barely see here, but I try to sneak it into the comic book somehow, even though he's technically not supposed to show it right away, and then just designing that kind of stuff is fun. So a lot of cyberpunk influences there, and I'll ink that later. But let's see here. So Locket, yes, you can go to siaom.com, and I don't know if there's concept art. You know what? I haven't even updated my page in a long time. So I think the best place to see my artwork is if you go to my Instagram. So it's just Instagram, and then Sia, I think it's _om, and then you'll see my artwork. So Polo, I you know what, if you guys want, I will definitely consider printing a black and white version of this book for the Kickstarter, and then have that available for you. So if you want, I could totally do that. I just wanted to make sure that there's enough people that wanted it, and that it wasn't just me. So In fact, you know what? I have like, do I have any examples here? Was it hockey? Oh, no, I don't. Okay. Oh, kind of. Okay, so if you subscribe to the CEO newsletter, so this is what people were getting in the mail, and I'm kind of using this as an example for how much screen tone I want on the in the book before I color it, because I really like screen tones and I want to try to get colors, but I don't want to overshadow the screen tones. I think they look really cool, and it gives you this cyberpunk, like Akira vibes, you know? Yeah, I love black and white versions too. Me and you both. Okay, Ray thinks so too. All right, we're doing a black and white version of this book in the Kickstarter somehow. I don't know if it's going to be together with the book itself and have a different version, or just all straight up black and white, which is probably the easiest thing though. Okay, awesome. Black and white version it is, you guys. Thank you for the confirmation. That makes it easier for me than trying to assume that I know what you guys like. And then also the sketchbook. So we'll have different little art things in there. You know, I was trying to figure out if I could give away my remember the little tiny pencils I had? That I, see if I can find it here. So I like keeping my little shorties because they're so fun. But these are all like my shortest little pencils. And I was like, maybe I could give it away on the Kickstarter, but I don't know how to tier that. So I'm not sure how I'm going to include it, but they're all my cute little pencils. And every time they get to like this length, I stick them in this little bag. Oh, look, it's color coordinated. I didn't even try. Yeah, Polo, I think I would love to. I think I'm going to take one step at a time, but that would, to get into the Japanese manga market would be amazing. So I need to make some phone calls, I think, to get myself there. All that stuff on the Kickstarter. Yeah, we have stickers. We have really cool stickers and a really cool keychain as well. Like, so with all the products that not products, swag, I guess is what you call them. So all the stuff that I have, I'm actually designing and making new art just for it, because for me personally, I want like really cool stuff, and the material of the shirt and everything is like the material of the shirt that I'd want to wear. So yeah, I'm being very specific, and I think that's what's really nice about being an artist and also doing your Kickstarter is you get to make your own stuff and design it instead of having to hopefully have someone do it for you, or just reusing whatever art you have available. So oh man, yeah, you know what, I have, Joey, I have that Hush version where it's just pencils, but I just have to remember after today to, like, as soon as I finish pencils to scan it, which I haven't done. It's like a mixture of a bit. I could do half the book that way, so you could see like the first half is like the pencils, and all of a sudden the second half is like inks, and the third half colors or something. But for sure, for the next volume, I'll keep that in mind so that I have all the pencils scanned before I start inking and stuff. Hush Noir, yeah. Okay, so I think I'll go for another 10 minutes and then have to go work out and then go to dinner at the same time. So right afterwards. And then I could give your guys' Saturdays back to you. Oh, I'm so glad you did it, Polo. Congratulations. That is like the best way to learn. 100 pages especially, and then you just put it out there, you learn all the process. And I think if you're gonna do that, you might as well go all out, right? And you'll learn so much quicker that way. The discipline alone is probably the hardest part. And I mean, even with this right here, it's like, because it's my own book, it's easy for me to go, oh, I don't have to work on it. But you can only say that for so long before you realize you're just scared. So kudos to you and your friend. Is your book out on Amazon or where people could actually buy it, Trevor? Wait, yes, wait, sorry. Polo said that, sorry. Trevor, oh yeah, there's a game on today, college game, right? Yeah, people are bouncing around right now between college games and the NFL, and there's plenty to watch, so. Oh, awesome. You know what, Miguel, that's awesome to hear because I wasn't sure if streaming on Saturday was a good idea at first because nobody wants to spend their Saturday on YouTube, right? But if it means that you were actually able to draw and get inspired on the weekends, I think that makes perfect sense. So I'm glad we picked Saturday. So yeah, I think I'm going to be doing this again next Saturday. And maybe next week, you guys, I could color in Clip Studio. I'll hook up the monitor to my my monitor so you guys can see me coloring. So in Clip Studio, and we'll try to get one major panel done. Maybe this one, maybe a different one where I could show you how I flap the panels and then do all the pretty glowy highlights and skin and stuff. So. Morris, no bottle openers that I'm aware of, but let me talk to Frank from Aspen and ask him what his feedback on is getting it made and the cost and stuff like that. So. Oh, okay, Polo. So your book is in color. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. But I'm glad you took it to KDP. That's a good way to make a little bit of money and then get your stuff out there too. So awesome. I was contemplating doing that with this book a while ago, and I was like, you know what? I shouldn't rush it. I just take my time and do it when I'm ready. I do have my first sketchbook published through KDP. I don't know if it's still up there. Hey, Dave. You're catching me like a firefly. Magnets are the ultimate in swag items. Yes. You know what? I do have some of those magnets. I like the die cut ones of the shapes. Let's see. To me, magnets were my favorite toys to play. Oh, interesting. You know, thank you for telling me that. I wasn't sure like what kind of stuff you guys like. So I wanted to do buttons, like little cute buttons, but then I'm a little worried about like shipping it internationally because of the pins. So I wasn't sure if that was going to be a problem with like, you know, they ask you if you have your any kind of dangerous explosive devices or anything like that in your batteries when you're shipping. Oh, Polo, oh my gosh. Right now, for me, it's backwards. It's like business first and then drawing afterwards, it seems like. But I'm almost there. Everything's almost put in line and all I have to do is just draw. So. Thank you so much, Nico Draw. Nice to see you. Metal bookmarks. Interesting. Okay, what else are we missing? So I know we have stickers. We have keychains and t-shirt, mini sketchbook, print. And so I'm seeing metal bookmarks. I'm seeing magnets. People like magnets. Okay, cool. Good to know. And is there like, what else? Any digital content you guys would like? Joey, You want my trash can? Sure. You know, it's funny. Yeah, I used to do that too in my art. I was like, what are you doing? Throwing your stuff away. And then because I like people's sketches too. I don't know what I was thinking, but I think it's because back then the sketches weren't that great. Hey, what's up, Jeremiah? Just finish the story, even 10 pages, you'll learn a lot. He's right. Yes, Polo. Yes, just finish 10 pages. For sure. You've done way more than I have. It's when I first started out, I could barely finish 10, and then I went from 10 to like, or, 5 pages. I forgot how many I did in the Aspen. It was like a charity book I did. That was my first thing. I think I did 10 pages in one book, so. But when I started in comics, I was actually drawing covers, and I was also a colorist before I actually got to draw interior pages. That was something I had to work up to. Character sheets, yes, we got some of those. I definitely have that. Let's use a chisel edge for this one. Thank you so much, Polo. I try. I'm practicing and working on it still, so. Thank you, Joey. Yeah, sure. I don't mind like not finishing a page, and then I could go on to the next one. Then everything I get done faster, as for sure. Oh no, this is running out of ink. Paulo, the idea is yes, I should be able to ship it to Europe. I just have to look at how to do that, but I'm definitely going to open it up to the whole world. I just have to look at the numbers and figure out the shipping cost, and that does determine like what I could put in the boxes and everything. So but like I mentioned earlier, if for some reason we run into a roadblock with shipping, you'll definitely have a lot of the digital items be things that you guys would want, like the sketchbooks, the black and white edition, the tutorials. Sorry. Alrighty, I'm gonna do 4 more minutes and then we're gonna call this done for now, even though it's not actually done. It's nice to do this because I get to hang out with you guys and also get my work done, and it kind of goes by faster that way than just me sitting here staring at the page. Okay. Scan it before inking. I won't regret it. Yes. Harlan, how long does it take to come up with a story before executing it? Well, it all depends, honestly. This one took a long time because I was practicing, learning, and doing other things. But if you did it and you only and that's all you did, and you didn't have to do other people's projects or publishers and all sorts of work, you could probably hammer it out in like a year, honestly, like if you do focus on it. I'm gonna have to work with that later. Okay, so Polo, yeah, you're right. We're all like, oh well, I know, it's not cheap, but I am going to talk to my fulfillment team, and they're gonna tell me the numbers, and they're very fair. So I'm not the one shipping it out, at least. I'm gonna be there to sign all the books though, and you know what? When that happens, I could live stream from there, and you guys could watch me sign the copies and help them fulfill the book and stuff, like some behind the scenes stuff. That would be fun, right? Joey. Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like, how badly do you want to tell the story and put it out there? I think you could pretty much fast track it if you really wanted to. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Robert. So you've been there for a minute, huh? Lola and Fathom and this right here. Especially because this story came before Lola, but then it took a while to get here. So I'm glad now we finally get to do this. And you guys get to see what I've been working on forever. I promise you there'll be a lot of fun Easter eggs and inside jokes that you guys would know, because if you were on the stream, you'll know when you see it. And oh well, it's okay, Joey. I think I'm gonna wrap it up today too. So you know what? You have a good evening and take care. Thank you so much, Sibo. And Robert Slavey, just a bit, yes. So, all right, you guys, let's do the same time next Saturday again, and I think we're gonna color in Clip Studio Paint. So I'm excited because I've never actually done that, even with all the work I've done. I've only done like a really short 10-minute video of the digital coloring process, and I think the key for me is to make it, you know, it's cyberpunk. So, but it's still kind of a gritty cyberpunk. So I don't want it to be super refined or anything. So let's add some grit to the book and then make it look interesting. And then you guys get to see and then kind of work along with me. So, all right, you guys, and hopefully, you know, we get to launch this book together, and you give me all your feedback, and then, you know, it makes it into the book. It's kind of cool. It's a collaborative effort. So we got some stuff that's established here. So yeah, I guess next Saturday, digital coloring is likely next week. So thank you guys, and I'm sorry for anybody who just kind of dropped in. Now that I'm done for now, I guess, or at least I'm starving. My stomach is growling. Bye, Arthur. All right, bye, JD. Bye. Thank you so much, Michael. See you next week, Robert. You too, sound effects. Enjoy the rest of your weekend as well, and football. Thank you so much, Richard. Well, I'll see you guys next week, okay? So, alrighty. Thank you again for hanging out with me. Okay. So, ciao. Alrighty, guys. Let's see. Oh, hello, Salvador. I'm about to stop the stream, but you could watch the replay, and then if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments, and I'm gonna go back into the description right now and add a bunch of links that I mentioned, like my friend's YouTube channel and stuff. All right, you guys, I will see you next Saturday. So, okay, I'm gonna stop in the count of, you know how this works. Count of 10. 1, 2, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000, 6, 1,000, 7, 1,000, 8, 1,000, 9, 1,000, 10. Bye. See you guys later.